Carson has no limitations. He's been working with the guys all off season, and really looking forward to these next 10 practices with him.
Will you hold him back at all?
No. I'm not going to hold him back.
That's Doug Pederson, coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, talking about Carson Wentz's availability for organized team activities. The last time we heard from Pederson at the team's rookie minicamp, he was being very coy about Wentz, and it almost made us wonder, is he not going to be available for OTAs? But he'll be back. He's ready to go. And look, that's fine with me. The real question, Shireen, will continue to be, can Carson Wentz stay healthy into the key weeks of the season, the key months of the season? Will he be available to his team in December? Will he revise his playing style just enough so he doesn't get himself injured again? Because this time Nick Foles isn't going to be there to bail out the Eagles the way he did each of the last 2 years. At some point, Wentz has to show that he's going to be available to his team from week 1 through week 17 and into the playoffs.
Yeah, as much faith as they have in Carson Wentz, he's never started a playoff game. Never started a playoff game. That's hard to believe. And he had that MVP season a couple years ago, probably would have been MVP if not for the injury. Guys are always better the second year after an ACL injury. I think he's going to be better this year than he was even last year. But as you said, he's got to stay healthy when they need him most, and he hasn't shown the ability to do that yet. So that's a big thing, and it's hard. You're going to have to change your playing style a little bit. He can't be running like he did against the Rams when he tore that ACL.
It's an interesting time in the NFC East. You've got two teams who have rookie quarterbacks in Dwayne Haskins and Daniel Jones. You've got two teams with established guys in Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz. Well, what do the Cowboys think of Wentz? How much fear does he strike in the heart of their defense when it's time to face him?
He's played really well against them, has 10 touchdowns and 1 interception in 5 games. Been really, really good. But the Cowboys are 3-2 against them. So they don't fear Carson Wentz at this point. They think they can beat him. They still believe that, and they've done it more than 500%, obviously. They've been able to beat him with that 3-2 record. So they think he's a really good quarterback, but they also think they have ways they can beat him, and they have done that so far. But Wentz, as we know, if he plays like he does a couple years ago, MVP level, he's going to beat most teams, and the Eagles are going to be really, really good. I like the Eagles in the NFC, but it all comes down to, can Carson Wentz stay healthy long enough to get them to the postseason and then win in the postseason, something he's never done.
And I think the big difference last year, they didn't have the running game that they had in 2017. It made it harder to set up the RPO, the run-pass option play. Teams were just staying back on their heels, waiting for the pass to come out of that motion when they would try to set it up. I think too often, and this is one of Chris Sims' big points, they get away from their game plan because they get infatuated by the things Carson Wentz can do, and they don't really adhere to that strategy. And that you see them more likely to adhere to it when Nick Foles is on the field, because I think it's too easy to get caught up in Carson Wentz's very special skill set that you're tempted to just let him go out there and do his thing and win the game.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And they were a better team with Nick Foles at quarterback than Carson Wentz at quarterback. And they've got to figure out how to play the same way when they have Carson Wentz on the field rather than Nick Foles on the field. And they haven't figured that out yet.
Would you have kept Foles?
I think I would have. I would have tried to have kept him, yes. He's just a really good quarterback, and I think he can be a starting quarterback, a successful starting quarterback in this league. I understand why they went with Carson Wentz, but if I'm Doug Pederson right now, I'm really nervous not having Nick Foles there.
And let me be more specific. Would you have tried to keep Foles and Wentz, or would you have kept Foles and traded Wentz?
I would have tried to have kept both. It would have been probably almost impossible to do, having to pay him as much as they would have had to pay him. But I would have tried to keep both guys.
Yeah, I just think that, and I said as they finally found the light switch and the team turned it around and Nick Foles pushed them toward another Super Bowl berth, that if they gave the Saints a run for their money, which they did, that's when you have to have the conversation. Which guy are we better off with? And they have so much invested in Carson Wentz, it's hard to walk away from him. But you have a guy who's the Super Bowl MVP. You have a guy that the team. I mean, and for all that the Eagles say about empathy, emotional intelligence, and the right relationships, and you have a guy in Nick Foles who understands all that, and I'm not so sure Carson Wentz does. I think that the front office there is probably a lot more nervous than they'll let on that they kept the wrong guy.
I had a scout tell me a couple days ago that he thinks that Carson Wentz is going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history and a Hall of Famer. So that, and it's a scout obviously from another team, not the Eagles. And so that made me more confident that Carson Wentz is going to be that guy that the Eagles think he's going to be.
He's got to stay healthy. We've seen that with so many other players. Either you can stay healthy or you can't. And if Wentz can't, he can't become one of the greatest of all time.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.